It was a calm evening when everything changed. The man had just finished his dinner and was sitting on the couch, ready to watch some TV. His day had been normal, nothing special. But suddenly, a strange light filled the room. At first, he thought, it was a power outage, or maybe the reflection of a car outside. But then, in the middle of the glowing light, a figure appeared. It was a young girl, but not like any girl he had ever seen before. She looked different. Her skin had a soft glow, almost like the moonlight shining on water. Her eyes were large and bright, reflecting colors he couldn't name. She didn't wear any clothes, but she didn't seem afraid or shy either. Instead, she looked calm and curious, like she was seeing the world for the first time. The man blinked, wondering if he was dreaming or if this was real. The girl spoke softly, her voice gentle and musical. She said she came from a faraway place, a different planet, and she wanted to learn about human culture. She called it a cultural exchange, a chance for her to understand humans better. The man was shocked but also fascinated. He didn't know if he should be scared or happy. Instead of running away, he asked her questions. She explained that on her planet, people often appear without clothes. It was normal for them, a sign of honesty and trust. At first, the man found it hard to understand. In his world, people wore clothes to protect themselves and to show respect. But here was this strange girl, comfortable and natural without anything, covering her. As the night went on, the man tried to make her feel at home. He brought her a blanket and offered her some food. She smiled and accepted, her smile warm and kind. She moved with grace, and even though she was different, there was something about her that felt familiar. Maybe it was the way she looked at him with eyes full of wonder and hope. The man's mind raced with questions. How did she get here? Was she alone? What did she want? But he didn't want to scare her by asking too much. He decided to wait and see. Maybe this was the beginning of something new and exciting. As the hours passed, he noticed how the alien girl watched everything with interest. She touched the furniture gently, listened carefully to the sounds around her, and smiled at the little things he showed her. It was as if she was learning to be part of his world, even though her own world was so different. Still, one thing confused him the most. Why was she always naked in his bed? She never seemed to feel cold or uncomfortable. She said it was part of her culture, a way to show respect and openness. The man tried to understand, but it was hard for him. In his world, nudity was private, something people did only in certain places and times. He tried to ask her about it, but she just smiled and said it was natural. She didn't mean to be rude or strange. It was just how she lived. Over time, the man realized that her nudity was not about him or his rules. It was about her honesty and trust. She trusted him enough to be herself, without hiding anything. Despite the oddness, the man found himself growing curious and even a little protective. He wanted to learn more about her, about where she came from and why she chose to be here. Was she lost? Did she have a family? Or was she an explorer, searching for new friends in a lonely universe? The night ended with both of them sitting quietly. The alien girl rested on the blanket, looking peaceful. The man watched her, feeling a strange mix of emotions. He wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring, but he knew this was no ordinary night. Something important had begun, a story that would change both their lives forever. Days passed since the alien girl had appeared in the man's home. At first, everything felt strange and confusing, but slowly they began to learn more about each other. The man wanted to understand her world, her culture, and why she acted the way she did. The alien girl, too, was curious about the human world and its many rules and customs. One morning, the man asked her about her culture again. He was still puzzled by why she always stayed naked, especially when they were together in his small house. She smiled softly and explained that on her planet, Clothing was not something people needed to wear every day. It was different from Earth. To her people, being without clothes was a way to show honesty. It meant there was nothing to hide. People believed that when they were open like this, they could trust each other more easily. She told him that her people lived in places where the weather was always warm, so clothes were not necessary for protection. Instead, they focused on how they treated each other and how they communicated with kindness. The alien girl said that wearing clothes sometimes created walls between people. She thought it was better to be open and honest from the start. The man listened carefully. He tried to imagine a world where everyone was so open and trusting. It was very different from his own experiences. On Earth, people wore clothes for many reasons: fashion, safety, and personal comfort. Clothes also helped people feel secure. Without them, the man felt vulnerable. Yet the alien girl seemed free and peaceful. Over time, the man and the alien girl began to share more of their lives. He told her stories about Earth, how people lived, worked, and played. He spoke about cities, schools, and holidays. She listened with wide eyes and asked many questions. Sometimes she laughed at the funny things he said, and sometimes she looked thoughtful. In return, she shared stories about her home planet. She described beautiful forests that glowed with light, oceans that sang, and skies filled with colors no human had ever seen. Her people lived in harmony with nature and believed deeply in respect for all life. She explained how their communities were close and how everyone cared for one another. Despite their differences, the man and the alien girl found many things in common. Both wanted to be understood and accepted. Both were curious about the world around them. And both, in their own way, were learning what it meant to trust someone else. But life was not always easy. Sometimes the man felt awkward about her habits. She would sit or lie down without worrying about clothes, even when others might come to the house. He worried about what neighbors or friends would think if they found out. Still, he never told her to change. He respected her culture, even if he didn't fully understand it. The alien girl noticed his discomfort and tried to help. She explained that on her planet, privacy worked differently. People trusted each other deeply and didn't feel embarrassed about natural things. She said it was a lesson for him, to see beyond appearances and learn what really mattered. Slowly, the man began to feel less awkward. He saw that her nudity was not about breaking rules or being disrespectful. It was about honesty, trust, and connection. She was showing him her true self without fear or shame. During this time, they developed a routine. The alien girl would explore the house, touching objects and learning their uses. She especially liked books and pictures. The man taught her how to use his computer, showing her images of Earth's cities, animals, and people. She was fascinated by everything, her eyes lighting up with wonder. One afternoon, the man decided to take her outside. The weather was warm, and he wanted her to see the garden. She walked barefoot on the grass, smiling as the soft blades tickled her feet. They sat together under a tree, sharing quiet moments. The man felt a strange comfort being with her, as if she was a bridge between two worlds. As they spent more time together, the man noticed something special in her. She was not just an alien visitor. She was kind, gentle, and wise beyond her years. Her presence made him think about his own life, about kindness, acceptance, and the courage to be different. One evening, after a long day of talking and exploring, the alien girl sat quietly beside him. She told him more about her culture's beliefs. She said her people valued connection above all else. To be close, to share feelings honestly, was the highest form of respect. That's why she was always open and unclothed. It was not meant to shock or confuse, but to show trust. The man realized that her culture was teaching him an important lesson. Sometimes people hide behind clothes, masks, or walls. But real friendship and understanding come when people are honest and open. He smiled at her, feeling grateful for this unexpected teacher. At the same time, the alien girl was learning from him, too. She noticed how humans used clothes to express themselves and protect their bodies. She saw that clothes could be beautiful and meaningful. She promised to try to respect human customs while sharing her own. Together, they were building a new kind of friendship, a friendship that crossed planets, cultures, and ideas. It was not always easy, but it was real and growing stronger every day. The man still wondered many things about the alien girl's world, but he no longer felt confused or upset by her being naked. Instead, he saw it as a symbol of her trust in him. He wanted to return that trust and show her the best of humanity. The days turned into weeks. The man and the alien girl continued their cultural exchange, learning and teaching. Each moment was a chance to grow and understand, and even though the alien girl remained naked most of the time, the man stopped focusing on that. He was learning to see the person inside, the kind, curious soul who had come from a distant star to share her culture and her friendship. Time passed, and the bond between the man and the alien girl grew stronger. They spent many hours together, talking, exploring, and sharing their worlds. The man was fascinated by her stories, and the alien girl was eager to learn about Earth. But as they became closer, some challenges began to appear. One thing was clear. The alien girl's habit of being naked in his home, especially in his bed, still made the man feel uncomfortable at times. Even though he respected her culture and trusted her, he found it hard to forget how different their worlds were. For him, a bed was a private place, and clothes were part of that privacy. She, however, saw things differently. For her, being without clothes was natural and honest, especially when they were together. One day, the man decided to talk to her about it. He wanted to explain how he felt without hurting her feelings. He said gently, "I care about you, and I want to understand you better. But sometimes I feel unsure when you are naked in my bed. It's hard for me to get used to." The alien girl looked at him with kind eyes and nodded. She understood that their differences could be confusing. She explained again that on her planet, being naked was a way to show respect and trust. It was not meant to make anyone uncomfortable. Instead, it was a sign that she felt safe with him. She told him she wanted to be honest and open, not just with her words, but with her whole being. She hoped he could see that as a gift, not a problem. The man thought about her words. He realized that her nakedness was not about breaking rules, but about showing how much she trusted him. He wanted to return that trust in a way that felt right for both of them. They began to talk more about boundaries and feelings, learning how to respect each other's ways. Slowly, they found a balance. The alien girl agreed to wear clothes sometimes, especially when others might visit or when the man felt uncomfortable. The man also tried to be more open-minded and accept her, the way she was. It was not always easy, but their friendship was growing stronger because of these honest talks. As they learned to cross these cultural boundaries, the man noticed how the alien girl's presence changed his life. He felt happier and more curious. She taught him to be brave, to see beyond what was familiar, and to accept new ideas. He also realized that trust was not just about rules or appearances, but about feelings and respect. Their days were filled with small adventures. Sometimes they explored the nearby park where the alien girl was amazed by trees, birds, and people. She laughed at children playing and asked many questions about their games and songs. The man enjoyed watching her discover simple joys he often took for granted. At home, they shared meals and stories. The alien girl loved learning about human food. She tried different tastes and textures, sometimes making funny faces when she didn't like something. The man found joy in teaching, her how to cook simple dishes, showing patience as she learned. Despite their differences, they shared moments of quiet comfort, too. Sometimes they would sit together watching the stars through the window. The alien girl told him stories about her home planet's skies and constellations. She spoke of ancient legends and heroes, filling the night with magic and wonder. One evening, the man felt brave enough to share more about himself. He told her about his life before she came, about his hopes and fears. She listened carefully, never interrupting, and when he finished, she thanked him for trusting her. It was the first time he felt truly understood by someone so different yet so close. Their friendship was not perfect. There were still moments of awkwardness and confusion. Sometimes the man felt unsure about how to act or what to say. The alien girl, too, struggled to understand human feelings and social rules, but they always tried to be patient and kind, knowing that learning takes time. The alien girl's nakedness, once a source of discomfort, became a symbol of their growing trust. It reminded the man that true friendship means accepting others, even when they are different. He learned to see her not just as an alien visitor, but as a friend who had come to teach him about openness and honesty. One day, a visitor came to the man's home, a neighbor who was curious about the new presence. The man worried about how the alien girl would be seen. Would they be afraid? Would they judge her? But when the neighbor saw the alien girl, she was not shocked. Instead, she smiled warmly and greeted her kindly. The alien girl, true to her nature, welcomed the visitor, without hesitation or clothes. At first, the man felt embarrassed, but he noticed the neighbor's calm reaction. She asked questions and showed respect. It was a small moment, but it gave the man hope. Maybe others could learn to accept the alien girl's culture, too. From that day on, the man and the alien girl continued their journey, crossing boundaries not only between cultures but also between hearts. They knew that understanding each other would take time, but they were ready to face challenges together. The man felt grateful for the strange and wonderful visitor who had come into his life. The alien girl, too, felt thankful for the kindness and patience of her new friend. Together, they were creating a new story, a story of friendship, trust, and the courage to be different. One quiet night, as the man and the alien girl sat together watching the stars, she began to share something she had never told anyone before. Her voice was soft, almost like a whisper. She explained why her people had the custom of being naked, so often, especially around those they trusted. She said that on her planet, people believed the body was not something to hide or be ashamed of. Instead, it was a way to show who they truly were inside. When they were naked, it was easier to connect with others because there were no masks or barriers. Being open in this way meant they shared their feelings honestly and deeply. The alien girl told the man that her people saw clothing as something that sometimes made people hide their true selves. When someone wore many layers, it was like building walls between hearts. But without those walls, trust grew faster, and friendships became stronger. She also shared stories about her childhood, living in a village where everyone was free to be themselves. She described how her family showed love by being open and gentle, not just with words, but with their whole bodies. It was a culture of kindness and understanding. The man listened carefully. At first, it was hard for him to imagine a world without clothes, where people showed so much of themselves all the time. But as she spoke, he began to understand. It was not about the body itself, but about honesty and trust. The alien girl was teaching him that true connection comes when people stop hiding. Then she told him about her loneliness before she came to Earth. Her planet was beautiful, but sometimes people felt distant from each other because of fear or misunderstandings. She had wanted to find a place where she could belong, where she could be accepted just as she was. That was why she had chosen to come to Earth, to learn about new cultures and find someone who would understand her. When she found the man, she felt hope. She trusted him enough to be open and vulnerable, hoping he would accept her differences. The man felt a deep warmth in his heart. He realized that her nakedness was not strange or wrong. It was a symbol of her courage to be herself and her trust in him. He was touched by her honesty and felt grateful that she shared this with him. They talked late into the night, sharing stories and dreams. The alien girl described her hopes for a future where different worlds could come together, where people from many planets could learn from each other and live in peace. The man felt inspired by her vision. He began to see their friendship as something more than just two individuals meeting by chance. It was a chance to build a bridge between two very different cultures. In the days that followed, the man and the alien girl worked to deepen their understanding. They practiced new ways of communicating, using words, gestures, and silence. The man learned to listen not just with his ears, but with his heart. Sometimes they faced challenges. Old fears and habits were hard to change. The man still struggled with moments of embarrassment when she was naked, and the alien girl sometimes found human customs confusing or hard to follow. But through patience and kindness, they helped each other grow. They learned that respect was more than rules. It was about caring for the feelings of others while staying true to themselves. One afternoon, the man invited the alien girl to meet some of his friends. He was nervous about how they would react, but he trusted that the friendship they shared was strong enough. When the friends arrived, they saw the alien girl sitting calmly, her skin glowing softly in the sunlight. Some looked surprised, others curious. But the alien girl smiled warmly and greeted everyone without fear or shame. The man spoke to his friends about her culture and explained why she chose to live without clothes. Slowly, his friends began to understand. They asked questions, showed respect, and even laughed at some of the alien girl's funny stories. It was a special moment, a meeting of worlds and hearts. The man felt proud and hopeful. Maybe this was the start of something new, a chance for people to learn to accept differences and find friendship in unexpected places. That night, the man and the alien girl sat together again, feeling closer than ever. They knew the road ahead would have more challenges, but they were ready. They had found trust, respect, and a deep connection that no difference could break. The alien girl whispered, "Thank you for seeing me." The man smiled and replied, "Thank you for teaching me." Together they looked up at the stars, dreaming of the future and the endless possibilities it held. As time went on, the bond between the man and the alien girl grew into something very special. They had learned so much from each other about different worlds, cultures, and ways of living. The man had come to accept the alien girl completely. Her nakedness, her strange customs, and her kind heart. She had become a part of his life in a way he never expected. One day they talked about what the future might hold. The alien girl wondered if she would ever return to her own planet or stay on Earth. The man thought about how much his life had changed since she arrived. He realized that he had grown in many ways. He was more open-minded, patient, and curious. He was ready to face whatever came next, as long as they were together. They made plans to keep learning from each other. The man promised to help the alien girl understand more about Earth and its people. She promised to share more about her culture and to teach him about her planet's wisdom. They also talked about how to live together in a way that respected both their worlds. The alien girl agreed to wear clothes sometimes, especially when visiting new places or meeting new people. The man promised to be patient and understanding when things felt strange or difficult. They knew that finding balance was important, but what mattered most was their friendship and trust. One afternoon, the man took the alien girl to a local park where many people were enjoying the sunshine. They walked hand in hand, feeling the warmth of the day. People looked at them with curiosity, but they did not feel afraid or ashamed. The alien girl smiled at the children playing nearby and waved at strangers. The man felt proud to be with her, knowing how brave she was to be herself in a world so different from her own. They stopped by a small pond and watched the water ripple in the breeze. The alien girl told the man stories about the oceans on her planet, how they were full of strange and beautiful creatures, some that glowed in the dark. The man shared his favorite stories from Earth's seas about dolphins, whales, and coral reefs. In those quiet moments, they felt connected not only to each other but to the wider universe. They knew they were part of something bigger, a story that crossed stars and planets. Back at home, they continued their cultural exchange. The alien girl taught the man how to listen to silence, how to feel the energy around them, and how to trust his instincts. The man taught her how to cook simple meals, how to use a camera, and how to enjoy music. They laughed together, made mistakes, and celebrated small victories. Their friendship became a symbol of hope and acceptance. It showed that even the most different beings could find common ground and care for each other. The man knew that he would never forget this experience. The alien girl had opened his eyes to new ways of seeing the world and himself. One evening, as they sat together watching the stars, the alien girl rested her head on the man's shoulder. She whispered, "Thank you for accepting me. You have given me a home here." The man smiled and replied, "Thank you for trusting me. You have made my life richer." They looked up at the sky, feeling peaceful and hopeful. The future was uncertain, but they were ready to face it, together. Their story was not just about an alien and a human. It was about friendship, trust, and the courage to be true to oneself. It was about learning to accept differences and finding beauty in them. And as the stars shone above, the man and the alien girl knew that their journey was just beginning.